Today I'm gonna rank the Five Nights at Freddy's games by their difficulty. So you got the title list right here, and I'm gonna rank the games from easy to insane. So let's start with FNAF 1, the first ever game of the franchise. Comparing to the other games, I would say that FNAF 1 mechanics are on the simpler side, like you have the camera system and the doors. So basically to beat it, you need to make sure to keep track of Foxy and Freddy, and also you need to look around to see if someone is waiting for you at the door. The problem comes in the later nights, like you have to be very accurate with your timings because the power goes down insanely fast. But besides that, I would say it's like middle of the road. We need to leave some space for the other games, okay? So I'm gonna rank it at medium difficulty. Now, Five Nights at Freddy's 2. This is way harder than FNAF 1 because you have the previous mechanics and some new ones on top of that. Primarily the mask, music box, and the flashlight. Also, let's not forget to mention the amount of animatronics present in the night. It's basically doubled comparing to FNAF 1, so that's a lot. Like, there's always so much going on at the same time. You not only need to time your moves perfectly, but also you need to have a very quick reaction time. So I'm definitely putting FNAF 2 at hard. Five Nights at Freddy's 3. Compared to the two previous games, here you basically have only one danger, which is Springtrap. The phantoms are just distractions, you know? But they sometimes can appear at the worst times and make your game way more confusing and unpredictable than it should be. Besides that, you need to keep track of Springtrap through the camera and ventilation system. Also, you need to restart the systems when they get broken. To say the least, it's very chaotic, but I still don't think it's on the same level as something as FNAF 2, so I would put it at medium. Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Now I'm gonna say it, for me probably the scariest FNAF game. Like, you never feel safe. You don't have fancy doors that close with one click. You don't have a camera system. You need to walk up to the doors and you're getting attacked by monsters with 500 kilograms. Imagine that in real life. No, I wouldn't survive that. What I think makes this game hard is not the mechanics themselves, but the fact that you need to be aware all the time. Oh, you missed one sound? Yeah, you're done for. But since the mechanics don't really change throughout the nights, I think I would put it at medium. Sister location. Now the thing about it is that most of the nights aren't actually that hard, but there's two nights in particular that give you quite a challenge. The first one is night 4, which you quite literally have to have a very good timing winding the screws, or as always, you're cooked. Also, you have the Anart private room night, or whatever it's called, which is pretty hard too, especially the part of try not to run out of power. Like, you always need to be safe in it, or else he'll get to you. But since there's only two nights that give you a challenge and the rest, well, it's just not as hard, I'm gonna rank sister location at medium. Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator. I think this game requires quite a bit of time to learn the mechanics and things you need to do to beat it. Like, this one in particular is a slow one. You need to be patient and also always aware, kind of like FNAF 4, but here you have a computer that makes the noise of something that's about to explode. It's complicated, that's the least I can say. Like, this is one of those FNAF games that's going to give you some trouble, so I think it would be fair to put it at hard. Ultimate Custom Night. Oh boy, I mean, do I even need to explain? This is basically a game that has every single animatronic of the previous games in one night. Now obviously you can choose how many of them are going to be in your night, but come on, it's definitely going to be in the insane category. Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted. I would say that the only thing that makes this game quite difficult and actually scary is that you're in VR, but in the end, every night here is basically easier than the original one. Apart from that, there's also minigames which are surprisingly harder and also more stressful. Not to mention that doing everything in VR is just harder. So I'm gonna rank Help Wanted at medium. Special Delivery. I would say this is kind of a unique game from the rest. Man, I remember playing this game. It was actually really fun. Well, at least for me. It's sad to see it got shut down. But anyway, back to the topic. The difficulty of this game is really not that bad. You just need to look around your room, and if the animatronic starts running towards you, you just tase them. But still, there's some animatronics that are more difficult to neutralize because they come with different mechanics, which I'm not gonna explain. But honestly, comparing this game to the others, it's really not that challenging. Not to mention that the encounters are pretty short with the animatronics, so I think it gets easy. FNAF Security Breach. Although it may be quite tricky at first, not knowing what to do, or stuff like that, once you understand and figure it out, it gets relatively easy, and playing it just doesn't feel that hard. Now, I know there's some parts which are a bit more difficult, but overall, I think it gets easy. Okay guys, so since the video was a little bit too short, here's some bonus games. FNAF World. I think this is one of the games that doesn't rely on jump scares, and it's more about progressing through the different phases, if you can call them that, but you also need to go through different puzzles. Overall, since it's more of an adventuring and exploring game, it's not that difficult, although there's some boss fights or mini games that could give you some kind of challenge, but still, I think it's pretty easy comparing to the other games. So I'm going to put it at easy. FNAF Help Wanted 2, the most recent VR FNAF game. It comes with new challenges, some of them you need to be careful. Some of them you need to be alert. Just like Help Wanted. You know, there's some new levels to beat, but I wouldn't say that they're also that difficult. Besides that, you're still doing everything in VR, so it's always gonna be harder to use the controls and stuff like that. So therefore, I'm going to put Help Wanted 2 in medium, just like I did for Help Wanted. FNAF Into the Pit. Now, out of all of the games, I would say that this is more of a slow-paced game. It's more about storytelling rather than straight-up suffering. So based on difficulty, this is really not that hard. It's just not one of those games that you need to try hard 24/7. So for that, I think I'm going to put it at easy. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to wrap it up. And there it is, the full tier list. Even after all of these games, I still didn't put 2 of them because I honestly don't know anything about them. But still, I ranked most of the FNAF games. And we have some good variety. So that's what matters. Feel free to comment down below which FNAF game is the hardest for you or easiest, I guess. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye!